I was 70 when I realized something profound, something that would alter the course of my remaining years. My name is George Whitaker, and I've lived a full life, served in the Navy, ran a successful auto repair shop in Nebraska for 35 years, raised 3 kids, lost my beloved wife to cancer, and somehow kept on smiling through it all. But when I turned 70, something inside me clicked, or maybe it snapped. It started innocently enough. A canceled dinner invitation from my cousin Linda. She said she was too tired. Then my old friend Harold forgot to call on my birthday. I brushed it off, but the truth was harder to ignore every passing week. I'd become invisible. I'd always been the one to drive 2 hours just to see an old Navy buddy, or bring a pie to my neighbor's Thanksgiving dinner, or visit my nieces and nephews on their birthdays. They'd always thank me, hug me, smile, but none of them ever reciprocated. Not once. One Sunday morning, I stood in my small kitchen holding a bowl of instant oatmeal. The silence in my home was thick, and I suddenly said out loud, "Why am I doing this? Why was I the only one who seemed to care?" That day, I made a decision. I was done visiting people. No more road trips, no more birthday drop-ins, no more showing up at reunions hoping someone would remember me fondly. I stopped cold turkey. My kids were the first to notice. "Dad, you didn't come for Thanksgiving this year," my daughter Emily said over the phone. I told her I was tired. It was a white lie, sort of. I was tired, but not in the physical sense. I was emotionally drained from showing up for people who never showed up for me. At first, they were confused. Then they were irritated. My son Greg tried to guilt-trip me. "You always say family comes first, Dad. Don't bail on us now." But that's the thing. Family should go both ways. And I realized I'd spent most of my life giving without receiving. It wasn't bitterness. It was clarity. You might think it was lonely. At first, it was. The house was quiet, too quiet sometimes. I found myself reaching for the phone, tempted to check in on someone. But I didn't. Instead, I turned inward. I started reading again. I dusted off my old fishing rods and took solo trips to the lake. I started journaling, pages upon pages of thoughts I'd never shared with anyone. Strangely, I began to feel lighter. I stopped waiting for calls, stopped expecting visits. I created a new routine: morning walks, hot coffee, a crossword puzzle, an hour of guitar practice, and then evenings with a classic film. Life slowed down, and in the quiet, I found peace. One particular memory stands out from that first year. My neighbor, a young woman named Jessica, knocked on my door one afternoon. She was holding a tray of cookies. "I haven't seen you in weeks," she said, concerned. I invited her in and told her about my decision. She was stunned. "You're one of the kindest people in the neighborhood," she said. "We all just figured you liked the visits." I chuckled. I liked being remembered more. From that day, Jessica started visiting once a week. She didn't come out of obligation. She came because she genuinely cared. And that made all the difference. She even started bringing her daughter, little Sophie, who liked to draw me pictures of the sun and stick people. They never asked me for anything. They just came to share company. I realized something then: when you stop spreading yourself thin for people who don't reciprocate, you make space for those who actually value you. The real surprise came about 2 years into my self-imposed exile. I received a handwritten letter from Harold, my Navy buddy who forgot my birthday all those years ago. He apologized, said he'd been going through a rough patch with his health and hadn't been much of a friend. He ended the letter with, "You are the best man I ever knew, George. I miss you." I didn't cry, but I felt something shift inside me. Maybe not everyone had forgotten me. Maybe some were just too caught up in their own battles. Still, I didn't go back to visiting. I replied with a letter of my own, sharing fishing stories and a few jokes, but I made no promises about meeting up. I was done being the one who made the effort. If Harold wanted to see me, he knew where I lived. That decision brought me something more valuable than I expected: time. Time to reflect, to heal, and to be intentional with the people I did let into my space. My oldest granddaughter, Megan, began calling weekly just to hear my voice. "I always love talking to you, Grandpa. You tell the best stories." I started recording those stories. At first, it was just audio memos on an old phone. Then I bought a little video camera and started uploading clips to YouTube, sharing tales of my youth, life lessons, and a few laughs. I never expected it to take off, but it did. Before long, thousands of people started tuning in. They left comments like, "You remind me of my grandpa," or "Thank you for sharing. I don't have anyone to talk to either." One message really hit home. A woman named Linda from Ohio wrote, "I stopped visiting people too. It hurt at first, but I'm learning to be okay with it. Your videos help me feel less alone." That's when it hit me. Maybe I hadn't isolated myself after all. Maybe I'd just found a new way to connect, one where I wasn't chasing anyone for attention. People came to me, not out of obligation, but choice. The truth is, there's a certain kind of freedom that comes with age, if you allow yourself to embrace it. I no longer measure my worth by how many dinner invites I get or how many birthday cards arrive. I measure it by how at peace I feel when I wake up and sip my morning coffee, knowing I owe no one anything and expect nothing in return. That's not selfishness. That's liberation. I've learned that relationships should be mutual. Whether it's friends, family, or neighbors, energy must be exchanged, not just given. When you spend your life pouring into others who leave your cup empty, you end up hollow. And after 70, I decided I wanted the rest of my life to be full, not of noise, but of meaning. And the funny thing is, once you stop chasing people, the right ones find their way to you. It's been 10 years now. I'm 80 and still not visiting anyone. My kids come by more often. Megan brings her husband and baby every Sunday. Jessica still checks in, and Sophie is now a teenager who thinks I'm cool for an old guy. And those YouTube comments? They haven't stopped. I even have subscribers from countries I can't pronounce. All because I chose to stop showing up where I wasn't valued. So, if you're reading this or watching one of my videos wondering if it's okay to pull back, to stop stretching yourself for people who wouldn't do the same for you, let me tell you something. It's not just okay. It might just save your spirit. I stopped visiting people after 70, and I never looked back. Not because I stopped loving people, but because I finally started loving myself enough to stop proving my worth. And you know what? That made all the difference.